Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Market Insights with Linux, and welcome to this new video on Tesla, your weekly update. We're going to do a full update on the technicals for Tesla, but today we also have some major votes going on. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on that a little bit. There's multiple votes going on. Obviously, the first vote, and perhaps the most important vote, at least short term, is about the pay package for Elon Musk of almost $1 trillion. It's not that much. $1 trillion, by the way. Isn't it $1 million? No, it's actually $1 trillion. But that's obviously based on a lot of contingencies. There's a lot of other votes going on. And then outside of that, we also have some pretty interesting technicals for Tesla. So we'll talk about all of that. And then at the end, I'll kind of give my verdict on what I expect from Tesla and what I think you should expect from Tesla. And what I'm personally doing with the price. Now, quick update. I am buying some Meta stock right now. I'm not sure how many of you are interested in that. But I think the Meta stock is at a very interesting level right here. Between 600 and 630 to be fair. 630 I started scaling in, so it's down a little bit. But I have some other orders stacked. Pushed down after the earnings data, of course, that we had at the end of October. But ultimately still an amazing company. I mean, right now, the entire stock market is pulling back quite aggressively, so it's quite normal to see Meta and to see Tesla pulling back. But that's a little bit for now. I mean, ultimately, that's also what's causing Tesla to pull back. But Tesla, technically, we'll talk about that in a moment, is actually still bullish. So that's a good thing. Remaining resilient and remaining strong when there's a lot of bearish pressure. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a moment. First of all, let's talk about the fundamentals. So there's a couple of votes. First of all, the pay package for Musk. And then we have the XAI investment. I think that matters as well. I think, ultimately by investors, I think if this passes, so if Tesla were to invest in XAI, I think it would be bullish. The pay package, I'm not completely sure about. And to be fair, but we'll get to that in a moment, you have the super majority voting. They're voting to get that out, right? So you don't need a super majority, aka 2/3 of the votes, but you need over 50% of the votes to pass something. And then political neutrality, I think that's a non-vote. It doesn't really matter. But ultimately, the combination of these three votes, I'm not certain of what to expect from that. I mean, personally, I've always said I felt like it was a little bit bullish. The $1 trillion pay package, I'm calling it the $1 trillion pay package plan, but you know what I mean. I always thought that was slightly bullish, and that was definitely a reason for Tesla to rally up higher. But then I'm uncertain whether it's going to provide sustained bullish momentum, right? It could also be that we get a massive sell the news effect if it passes. Same thing with the XAI investment. So therefore, before talking about the technicals right here for Tesla, I think it's fair to say that the fundamentals are incredibly unpredictable. And some of you might disagree with me, and that's completely fine, but that's ultimately what I'm basing my investment decisions and my trading decisions on. And I think I think right now the fundamentals are too uncertain. I could see us both rallying up higher, breaking above our current resistance between 470 and 465. And rallying into our next price target at 500 and 505. But on the other hand, I could also see, especially given the bearish pressure in the markets, I could also see us pushing down all the way to the range low right here at 420, nice, and 415, and continuing to range. Now, like I said, technically Tesla is still bullish. You can see that since the 27th and 28th of October, we've actually been able to form balance a little bit higher on top of this intraday support level at 445 and 450. But that's also with the bearish pressure in the markets and with these fundamentals, it's also not certain that that will hold. So ultimately, if I would have to place a verdict, buy or sell on Tesla, it would be buy because of the ultimate fundamentals, the innovation that Tesla is doing. I haven't spoken too much about that in this video, but I've covered it quite extensively in other videos. I still think fundamentally that's incredibly bullish. And the fundamentals, I mean, there's definitely statistics that are not looking too optimistic or too positive for the long term for Tesla. But ultimately, I think the innovation kind of weighs more than that. and the financials are also not incredibly bad, right? So based on that, I would say it's still a buy, but short term, I would wait for some more stability. I would wait for the vote to pass, see what happens after that. If we get a solid break above 465 and 470, that's a potential buy opportunity for Tesla. Otherwise, look, I'm still very much into buying in this area between 400 and 385. It's unlikely we'll spike down into that, but outside of that, I remain relatively cautious, and I'll wait for either some more fundamental clarity or I'll wait for 470 to break. Those are my thoughts on Tesla. I would say it's a little bit more likely, given the general market circumstances, that we will get a bit of a spike down, support from there, and then I do think we have a good chance to break out and rally up higher, right? So that is what I would say my final verdict and prediction on Tesla would be. But those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you on my next videos. Bye.